Aaron and Lyra crouched behind a cluster of jagged rocks overlooking the distant human outpost. The settlement was small but well fortified, its walls designed to withstand the scorching winds and any potential Xeran attack. For Aaron, it was a safe haven after days of peril, but the journey had only just begun. Lyra, on the other hand, was still processing everything she had experienced. Human ingenuity, courage, and compassion were unlike anything she had known in her structured, controlled life among the Xerans, Aaron whispered. We move at first light. The guards shift every 2 hours. I know a hidden path to the gate. He looked at her, seeing her tension. You'll be safe once we're inside, but we must stay careful. Lyra nodded. I can help, she said, voice steady but quiet. I know Xeran surveillance patterns. I can predict their moves. Aaron studied her for a moment. Her knowledge of Xeran technology was deep, and combining it with human intuition could give them an edge. Then we moved together, he said. The night was bitterly cold. Sindara's twin suns had gone, leaving a sky filled with stars and a wind that cut like blades through their suits. Aaron taught Lyra to find shelter from the wind using natural formations. They dug shallow pits behind rocks, creating small alcoves to block the gusts. Lyra marveled at the simple techniques humans used, primitive to her eyes, yet so effective. This is remarkable, she admitted. Your species survives everywhere, on ice planets, desert worlds, even deep in gas clouds. How do you do it? Aaron shrugged. We adapt. We work together. We don't just survive, we try to improve, learn, and protect one another. Xerans have strength, but they lack that. Connection. We fight, yes, but also for something bigger. Hope, freedom, each other. Lyra's eyes reflected a mixture of wonder and sadness. In her society, questioning orders was punishable. Emotions were suppressed for efficiency. Seeing humans act on empathy, trust, and moral choices made her realize the Xeran way was not the only path. The first light of dawn crept across the dunes. Aaron and Lyra began their cautious trek toward the human outpost. Aaron led, scanning for signs of Xeran patrols. Lyra observed quietly, noting subtle shifts in sand patterns and light reflections, helping predict where hidden surveillance devices might be. Their movements were synchronized, an unspoken understanding forming between them. They reached a narrow canyon, a natural passage leading directly to the settlement. But the canyon was treacherous. The heat intensified as the morning sun reflected off the rock walls, and the ground was unstable, filled with loose sand and jagged stones. Aaron tested the footing before each step, and Lyra followed closely, learning quickly. Your people are careful, she said, almost in awe. Every move is considered. Aaron smiled faintly. We survive because we think, not just act. That's human strength. Halfway through the canyon, a sudden tremor shook the ground. Loose rocks tumbled down and a faint roar echoed through the narrow passage. Aaron reacted instantly, pulling Lyra back as a small landslide threatened to bury the path. They pressed themselves against the canyon wall, hearts racing. When the dust settled, the path was partially blocked. We have to climb over, Aaron said. He began testing handholds along the canyon wall. Lyra followed, using her alien agility and intelligence to navigate the tricky climb. Step by step they ascended, muscles straining under the heat and weight of their packs. Finally, they reached the canyon's edge, breathless but triumphant. Below, the human outpost spread like an oasis amid the harsh desert, its walls glinting under the morning sun. Aaron guided Lyra to a hidden ladder leading down into the base. They descended carefully, finally reaching the safety of human territory. Inside the outpost, Aaron introduced Lyra to Commander Tessa Rin, a seasoned human leader. Tessa's eyes studied Lyra intently, weighing her trustworthiness. Lyra explained her situation, the Xeran pursuit, her knowledge of their technology, and her desire to change. Tessa listened quietly, then nodded. If she helps us, she's welcome here, she said. Lyra spent the following days learning about human life on Sindara. She observed miners, engineers, and pilots all working together to survive and thrive in the harsh desert. She saw children learning about the stars, scientists experimenting with new ways to extract solarate, and soldiers training to protect their homes. Everywhere she looked, she saw the qualities that Aaron had spoken of: empathy, creativity, courage, and collaboration. One evening, as the twin suns set in a fiery blaze, Aaron and Lyra sat on a ridge outside the outpost, sharing a quiet moment. You were right, Lyra said softly. It's not just survival. Humans, they care. You fight, but you also love. That makes you strong. Aaron looked at her. Strength alone isn't enough. We have to care or we're just machines. Humans survive because we help each other, even when it's hard. Lyra hesitated, then touched his arm lightly. I've seen things I never thought possible. Maybe I can change too. I want to help, for the first time in my life. Their conversation was interrupted by an alert from the outpost. Xeran patrols had been spotted nearby, scanning the dunes. Aaron's instincts kicked in immediately. We prepare, he ordered. If they find us unready, we lose everything. The humans quickly organized. Soldiers positioned themselves along the walls. Engineers readied defensive mechanisms, and Aaron and Lyra shared critical intelligence about the Xeran patrol's behavior. Using her knowledge of Xeran technology, Lyra suggested ways to create false heat signatures to mislead sensors and misdirect the patrols. Humans adapted her suggestions quickly, combining them with their survival strategies. Night fell, and the desert became a theater of strategy and patience. The Xeran patrols appeared, searching for signs of intrusion. Using human ingenuity and Lyra's insight, the defenders created traps and diversions. Heat-reflecting panels and solarate mirrors confused the patrol's sensors, while hidden teams moved silently to intercept any approaching threats. The first clash was brief but intense. Xeran drones hovered above, scanning for life forms, but the humans' careful planning allowed them to evade detection. Aaron led a small squad to disable a drone silently, using a combination of human tactics and Lyra's knowledge of alien systems. The drone crashed into the sand without a sound, unnoticed by the patrols. After the encounter, Lyra looked at Aaron with admiration. Your people are incredible. Not because of weapons or armor, but because of thinking, trusting, and working together. Aaron smiled faintly. That's human nature. We survive, yes, but we also hope. And hope makes us strong. In the days that followed, Aaron and Lyra trained together. She learned human survival skills, from rationing water to reading the desert's subtle signs. He learned from her too, about Xeran technology, patterns of behavior, and how to anticipate their moves. They became a team, bridging the gap between species through trust, respect, and shared purpose. One evening, as another harsh day ended, they climbed a ridge overlooking the desert. The horizon was endless, stretching into the unknown. Lyra's eyes shone with determination. I want to help humanity protect more than just this outpost. I want to help protect your ideals, freedom, courage, hope. Aaron nodded. Then we'll face the next challenge together. The desert has tested us, but the real test will come when we face the Xerans directly. We must be ready, not just to survive, but to prove what humans truly are. The night sky shimmered with stars, reflecting on Lyra's wide eyes. She had left her people, her past, and the controlled life she knew. Here, with humans, she discovered something new. A chance to make a choice. To fight not for orders, but for values, for connection, and perhaps for love. As the twin suns began to rise again, painting the desert gold and crimson, Aaron and Lyra stood side by side, ready for whatever lay ahead. The journey through Sindara had tested their endurance, courage, and trust. Now it was time to show that humans were extraordinary, not only in their ability to survive, but in their ability to inspire hope, change hearts, and forge bonds that could alter the course of the universe. The desert's heat had forced them to endure. The dangers of the Xerans had tested their courage. And in the quiet moments between battles, a new force had begun to grow, a force that neither side had anticipated, understanding, respect, and the beginnings of a bond that could free both human and Xeran hearts. And so, with the stars above and the desert below, Part 2 closed on a note of cautious optimism. The greatest test was still ahead, but for the first time, Aaron and Lyra faced it not as strangers or enemies, but as allies, humans and Xerans united by shared purpose, courage, and the sparks of understanding that might one day become something more. The morning sun, or at least the artificial sunlight of the station's observation dome, spilled across the corridor as Lyra and Jaren returned to room 43. The hum of the station was steady, but inside a storm of activity had begun. The device sat in the center of the room, its glow brighter than the day before. The holographic projections had grown in complexity overnight. Maps of distant sectors, complex data streams, even simulations of alien worlds flickered in midair. Lyra's eyes widened. Jaren, it's learning faster than I expected. Jaren nodded, crouching near the device. I've been letting it observe my routines. But now it's making predictions. Look. He tapped a panel and the device projected a hologram of the station. Little markers appeared. Tiny red dots representing potential hazards. Pressure leaks, electrical faults, even sections of the hull under stress. Lyra leaned closer. It's predicting accidents? Yes, Jaren said almost reverently. It's calculating probabilities and outcomes. If humans trust it, we could prevent disasters before they happen. Think about it. Humanity has always been clever. We improvise, adapt, survive. Now we might actually predict danger. The first test came sooner than expected. A soft alarm pinged in the distance. Faint but insistent. The station's main monitoring system had flagged an anomaly in Sector 7. Lyra's heart jumped. That's near the hydroponics lab. A pressure leak could ruin the entire crop module. Jaren's eyes sparkled. Let's see what it says. He activated the device and instantly a projection of Sector 7 appeared. Lines of data flashed in real time. The device highlighted a tiny section of the lab, showing where pressure levels were rising. According to this, Jaren said, pointing to the hologram, the leak will reach critical in 12 minutes. We need to act fast. Lyra's training kicked in. Then let's move. Follow my lead. Within moments, they were in the corridor leading to the hydroponics lab. The station's gravity hummed lightly beneath their boots, giving a sense of speed without motion sickness. As they approached, a faint hiss of escaping air confirmed the device's prediction. Jaren held up a handheld scanner. It's small, but if we don't seal it quickly... He trailed off, letting Lyra fill in the consequences. Lyra nodded. We're human. We improvise. The two of them sprang into action. Lyra directed a small maintenance drone to bring a patch kit, while Jaren analyzed the pressure differentials. The device hovered beside them, projecting holographic instructions, optimal placement angles, force calculations, even projected airflow once the patch was applied. Together, the human ingenuity of Lyra and Jaren combined with the alien device's calculations, and within 7 tense minutes, the leak was contained. Lyra exhaled, wiping sweat from her forehead. I can't believe that worked. The device was right, Jaren grinned, and humans executed it perfectly. That's the real point. Technology can guide us, but it's our decisions that matter. Lyra smiled despite herself. You're dangerously optimistic about letting this thing roam in your quarters. Before Jaren could respond, the device pulsed again. A new hologram appeared, showing not only the station but the surrounding space. Tiny points of light shifted in patterns, asteroids, drifting debris, and a fast-moving vessel approaching the station. Is that? Lyra squinted. A ship? Yes, Jaren said, brows furrowed. Unknown origin. It's small, but it's moving fast. And according to the device? He swallowed, clearly impressed and worried at the same time. It's heading directly for us. Lyra's mind raced. Could it be hostile? Possibly, Jaren admitted. But it's smart. The device says it's making calculated maneuvers, not random flight patterns. The two rushed to the observation dome. The vessel came into view, a sleek metallic craft unlike any human design, darting like a silver arrow. The station's standard defense systems wouldn't be able to track it efficiently. It was too small, too fast. Lyra turned to Jaren. What can the device do? Jaren tapped the sphere carefully. It analyzes. It predicts. It may not fire weapons, but it can guide us on how to respond. The device projected a simulation. Tiny markers showed possible flight paths of the incoming ship. It predicted collision points, potential docking vectors, even evasive maneuvers the craft might use. Lyra felt a thrill. So humans using this device. We might actually defend ourselves? Yes, Jaren said, eyes gleaming. It's giving us a chance. A real chance. That's what humans do. We face danger and adapt. The ship grew larger on the viewport. Sensors now picked up a faint energy signature. A shielded hull. A propulsion system unlike anything human engineers had built. Lyra felt a shiver run down her spine. This was no ordinary visitor. It was a test. The device pulsed, its hologram highlighting a weak point in the station's outer module. It's predicting the most likely impact zone, Jaren whispered. Lyra made a snap decision. We seal that section and reroute energy to the outer shields. If it hits, we can absorb the impact. Minutes passed like hours. Sweat dripped, alarms blared, and yet they moved with precision. Lyra directed repair drones while Jaren coordinated the energy flow. The device continued pulsing, projecting probability maps, predicting outcomes of every action. Finally, the vessel approached the station. Time seemed suspended, and then at the last moment, the device pulsed a blinding blue light. A shield projection enveloped the outer module, dispersing energy in a pattern calculated to deflect the impact. The vessel struck, but not the station. Instead, it ricocheted off the shield, spinning harmlessly into the void. Sensors confirmed the station was intact. Lyra exhaled, dropping to her knees. By all measures, we survived. Jaren laughed, a mix of relief and exhilaration. Humans survived. Because we acted, and because the device guided us. This is the start of something incredible. Lyra looked at the device, still pulsing softly on the floor. She felt a strange mixture of awe and fear. It wasn't just a machine, it was a partner. A tool that could amplify human capability in ways previously unimaginable. And yet, she couldn't ignore the nagging thought in the back of her mind. What else could it predict? What else could it learn? And when humans pushed it too far, what would happen then? Jaren seemed to sense her concern. "Don't worry," he said, though his eyes mirrored her own unease. "We'll take it slow, carefully. Human ingenuity guided by this device. We can survive anything, or at least most things." For the first time since he brought it aboard, the device's glow softened as if acknowledging them, not just as subjects of study, but as allies. Lyra studied it, a smile tugging at her lips. Humans had always faced danger with limited tools and scarce resources. They had adapted, survived, and often thrived where no one expected. And here they were again, armed with something alien. Something powerful, and yet, it was still human courage, quick thinking, and ingenuity that made all the difference. "Humans," Lyra murmured, "aren't just survivors. We're pioneers. And maybe, just maybe, we're unstoppable." The two stood in silence, watching the stars outside the dome. In the distance, the small vessel had vanished, leaving only a faint trail of ionized particles. The station's hum returned to normal, steady, and reassuring. And in room 43, the device pulsed faintly, a quiet reminder that the future of humanity might not depend on technology alone, but on the humans brave enough to master it. Days had passed since the encounter with the alien vessel. The station had returned to its usual rhythm, the soft hum of machinery, distant chatter of scientists, and blinking lights marking the corridors. But inside room 43, a different kind of energy lingered. Jaren Holt and Lyra Kane stood side by side, eyes fixed on the device. It had grown more complex since their first tests, now projecting multiple layers of holographic data at once. Simulations of alien civilizations, star maps with probabilities of hostile encounters, and even predictive models of station maintenance failures. Lyra leaned against the desk, arms crossed. "It's impressive. And scary." Jaren nodded, tapping at a floating interface. "It's learning faster than I expected. It's analyzing human decisions, predicting outcomes, almost as if it's trying to understand us." Lyra raised an eyebrow. "You're telling me it's not just a tool, it's studying humans?" "Exactly," Jaren said. "And that's where humanity shines. It can learn from us. We improvise, we adapt, we take risks it wouldn't predict. That's our edge." Before Lyra could respond, the device pulsed sharply, the holograms coalescing into a simulation of a far sector, Sector 12, long thought uninhabitable. Red flashes marked an anomaly. Jaren's eyes widened. "A natural disaster? A meteor cluster?" Lyra studied the projection. "No, it's artificial. Structures. Buildings or something resembling them. Something alive enough to manipulate the environment." The device's projection shifted again, zooming in. Small figures moved within the structures, creatures or machines she couldn't tell. The simulation indicated rapid expansion, a potential threat to nearby human colonies. "This is serious," Lyra said, her voice tight. "If what we're seeing is real, those colonies could be wiped out before anyone notices." Jaren's face hardened. "Then we need to act." The device predicted the fastest route, the safest approach. "We can warn them, maybe prevent disaster." Lyra nodded. Human ingenuity backed by alien technology. "Let's go." They prepared a shuttle for immediate departure. The device hummed in tandem, its projections guiding every calculation. Trajectory, fuel consumption, meteor paths, gravitational anomalies. It was more than a navigation tool. It was a partner, predicting danger and offering solutions. As they approached the sector, the situation became clear. The structures were not natural. They were constructs shifting and extending as though alive. Sensors detected energy surges, weapons of unknown design, and automated defenses activating without pause. Lyra gritted her teeth. It's intelligent, and it's hostile. Jaren activated the device's tactical overlay. Holographic grids showed safe corridors through the defenses, weak points in the structures, and probabilities of survival for each action. We've got one chance. We move fast, stay unpredictable, and trust our skills. The shuttle weaved through narrow gaps, dodging energy pulses and collapsing structures. Lyra's hands flew over the controls, adjusting speed and orientation with precision. Jaren monitored the device's projections, feeding her real-time updates on enemy positions and structural stability. Finally, they reached a small human colony, its inhabitants unaware of the approaching danger. The device projected an emergency evacuation plan, safest paths, shielded zones, and optimal timing to minimize casualties. Lyra and Jaren relayed instructions, guiding the colonists as they evacuated. Children, scientists, and families moved through narrow corridors, protected by shields and emergency protocols. The device's predictions proved flawless, its calculations ensuring that not a single life was lost. When the evacuation ended, Lyra exhaled. We did it, thanks to this thing and to us. Jaren smiled faintly. Yes, but it's not just the device. Humans make decisions. We improvise. We take calculated risks the machine can't always predict. That's why we survive. That's why we're exceptional. Lyra studied him, the weight of their achievement sinking in. Humanity had faced disaster before. Disease, war, famine, cosmic hazards, and yet here they were again. Not just surviving, but mastering the unknown. And now, with the device as an ally, their potential had grown exponentially. The device pulsed softly, projecting a new hologram. A cluster of stars, each one marked with human colonies. Trade stations and exploration vessels. Tiny symbols blinked over hazardous sectors. Asteroid fields, energy storms, and now intelligent threats like the one they had just encountered. Jaren tapped at the interface. It's creating a map of all known human activity, predicting risks, offering solutions, even suggesting new exploration routes. It's giving humanity a strategic advantage we've never had before. Lyra smiled. It's like having a second mind, alien, yes, but still. Working with us, for us, but their relief was short-lived. The device pulsed sharply again, this time projecting a single word in multiple languages. Evolve. Jaren frowned. Evolve? What does it mean? Lyra stepped closer. It means it wants humans to grow. Not just survive, but adapt faster, think smarter, act bolder. It's testing us, not controlling us. For the first time, Lyra felt a thrill she hadn't experienced in years. Humans weren't just passengers on the stage of the universe, they were actors shaping their destiny. And with this device, their potential had grown exponentially. Suddenly, the simulation flickered, showing a distant galaxy with an even larger threat. A fleet of massive vessels, unknown origin, moving toward the human colonies. The device projected defensive strategies, escape routes, and resource allocations. Lyra looked at Jaren, her eyes blazing. It's not just survival anymore. This is about leadership, about proving humanity can face impossible odds and prevail. Jaren nodded. We've trained for years. We've studied, adapted, improvised, and now we have a partner that enhances our best qualities. The fleet loomed larger on the hologram, but instead of fear, Lyra felt determination. Humanity had faced overwhelming challenges before, conflicts, cosmic catastrophes, alien threats, and each time humans had found a way. Their ingenuity, courage, and creativity were unmatched. She turned to the device. Let's show them what humans can do. Together, Lyra and Jaren coordinated with other stations, sending warnings, mobilizing defenses, and preparing colonies for potential attack. The device calculated probabilities, but humans made the final calls, improvising and adapting in real time. Every choice, every risk taken, every creative solution amplified the device's potential. When the alien fleet finally arrived, they found not a disorganized, vulnerable civilization, but a human network prepared, resilient, and united. Energy shields, coordinated tactics, and unexpected countermeasures turned the tide. The fleet was repelled, forced to retreat by strategies it hadn't anticipated. Lyra stood on the observation deck watching the stars settle into calm once more. Jaren joined her, eyes reflecting the galaxy. "We did it," he said quietly. Lyra nodded. "Humans did it. With a little help, yes. But humans decided, acted, and adapted. That's why we survive. That's why we thrive. That's why we're exceptional." The device pulsed softly beside them, its glow steady and reassuring. It had tested humanity, guided them, and now, like a mentor acknowledging a student, it seemed content. Jaren smiled. "Do you think it understands?" Lyra shook her head. "Maybe not fully. But it doesn't need to. Humans aren't just surviving, we're shaping the future. And nothing, not even the most advanced technology, can take that away." The stars outside gleamed like never before, and Lyra felt the truth in her heart. Humanity had faced the impossible and emerged stronger, smarter, braver. They were explorers, innovators, and survivors. And now, with courage, intellect, and a little alien guidance, they could face whatever the universe had in store. For the first time, Lyra truly believed in one thing: humans were unstoppable. The device pulsed one last time, softly, a silent acknowledgement of the partnership forged between human ingenuity and alien technology. Together, they had not only survived, they had evolved. And the universe would never underestimate humanity again,